Thank you, everybody, for attending tonight. It is our first past district governor sessions of Zone 2832. We launched these sessions last year to keep us connected to what's going on in the world of Rotary, keep us connected to each other, hear what's happening to make sure that we can be the best resource for our current district governors and tracks and leadership coming in. Nothing better than continuity. Last year, we had 3 sessions that we started. Discussions with Director Drew Kessler is how we kicked off answering different questions. We polled audience members beforehand and was able to get their questions answered. Then we had Regional Rotary Foundation coordinators Ingrid and Eileen put together a wonderful program talking about our Peace Fellows, disaster relief grants, and endowments and major fund giving, as well as we had membership coming in, our Rotary coordinators, Herb and Doug, to come in and talk to us about the clubs that were growing the fastest and what key points that they had touched upon that were giving them such great successes in growing their clubs in the past few years. So we're ready to start off this new year. Happy Rotary New Year. And what a great way to kick off than to have Rotary International President Gordon with us. Before we do so, I would like to welcome our Director, Drew Kessler, to come over and say a few words and welcome everybody to the Happy New Year. Drew?
Thank you, Jax. So I have to say, I really enjoy this call because this is the call that I get to get on and see so many faces that I've been tied with for decades, which is really, really awesome. And there's so many places you can be at the beginning of July, and you're on a call on a Monday night with us. So just know how appreciative I am and really for Jax for putting this on and really being the inspiration to start this. And Gordon, I can't thank you enough for giving up your time and your energy to be with this group. This is a group of really, really dedicated Rotarians who have served Zone 28 and 32 for longer than I've probably even been in this organization. That just continue to give and just be the mentors and the shoulders we all stand on. So it's a really great group, and I'm very happy that you're going to be able to share what you have planned for this year, which we're all very excited about. And from the other side, I could just tell this group I have the great fortune of spending a lot of time with Gordon and his partner, Heather. They are the most down-to-earth, and Jax is going to do the introduction, but I just need to say that they are the most down-to-earth, humble people that you just want to hang out with. And that's what's really, really cool is that can't say it's very often that you get people in these kind of positions that just you want to go to the bar and have a beer with, and that's what Gordon and Heather are. And they're really, really sweet people. And we're very fortunate as an organization to have them in leadership positions this year to bring us forward and inspire us to bring hope to the world. So Gordon, thank you very much for joining us. I start my day with Gordon. I finish my day with Gordon today, but it's all great. So all that are on, and I see that we're up to 90, and I'm sure we'll jump over 100. Thank you for all that you're doing in this great organization. Thank you for mentoring all the leaders that are coming up, because it's very much my belief that for us to be an amazing organization that we are, that we need the spirit of what's been before us to lead us for us going forward. So Jax, again, back to you, and thank you for all that you're doing to make these events happen and to schedule this, and it's really awesome stuff. So thank you, Jax.
You got it, anytime. So I was doing some research today to put together a bio for Gordon, and they sent over everything from Rotary International, but I happened to come across a sit down that Gordon had not too long ago. And I have to say, I was a little bit taken aback. One of the quotes that came back is that he's a big believer in using Rotary members' skills rather than their paychecks. And it just kind of connected with me, especially with the theme of mental health, because I feel working with people, especially working with young people, having a sense of purpose, finding your strength and your skill, being able to hone that and then serve your society with that really gives people a sense of purpose. And I feel that helps tremendously with mental health. I've seen it with young people, how they explore. That also connects us to RILA, which is another program that Gordon was talked very highly about in this. And as a past chair of RILA, I hold a passion for that too, because the way a youth changes, it changes their whole entire mind. And if we can give that through Rotary, it'd be wonderful. Gordon joined Rotary at the age of 26. He is part of the Queens Ferry Scotland Rotary Club, and his wife is also a member of Rotary, Heather. So they're both Rotarians, have been doing this for some time. He's an ambassador for the Bipolar UK, an organization that supports people with illness of mental health, as well as their families and caregivers. I thought that was also a nice highlight to bring upon from something else. And the greatest part is the believer in continuity, because that's one of the reasons for this call. So you're not here to listen to me. We'll turn it over to Gordon. We're going to leave some time for Q&A at the end. So please put your questions in the chat box and we'll get to them as best as we can. And then stay on for a little plug about our Zone Institute. Gordon, welcome tonight. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Greetings from Evanston, where you can probably see I'm settling into the president's office. Not that I'm going to be here too much during the 12 months ahead. I had a diary meeting today, and if my advanced travel schedule is anything to go by, this is going to be a fairly fleeting visit. Thank you, Jax, for that introduction. That's much too kind. More than a year ago, in my acceptance remarks at the Houston Convention, I said that I would be standing on the shoulders of giants. The giants who had gone before me as RI president. And I'm delighted to see my RI president from one of my years on the board, Wilf Wilkinson, join us this evening. It's good to see you, Wilf. But you know, as I've come to realize, as I've moved around the Rotary world over the last few months, I'm also going to be standing among giants. Giants like yourselves, the past governors of zones 28 and 32, who remain such an integral part of Rotary at this time. The giants who are going to help create hope in the world. This is an exciting point in time in the calendar year as we settle into a new Rotary year. Since January, we've seen a succession of training events cascading down from the International Assembly. We've got a new theme. We've got a new logo. We have a new tie and a new scarf. And of course, we have a new cohort of leaders. It's all change. But you know, some of the best examples of leadership any of us leading in Rotary can show at this time is to continue to support the efforts of others. As has already been mentioned, I've already and always been a great advocate of continuity in Rotary. I've tried to practice it at every level of Rotary leadership, be it at club or district or zone level. I believe strongly in the concept of Rotary's years, plural, where there's a seamless transition between leaders, rather than the concept of my year, singular, where one individual may take us in one direction, only for other individuals to take us in different directions in subsequent years, before, all too often, we end up right back where we started. Where individuals will not embark on any initiatives that don't complete in their year because they're worried they won't get the credit for it. Waldo Emerson, the 19th century philosopher, said, "There is no limit to what can be achieved if it doesn't matter who gets the credit." And I agree 100% with that statement. I'm not bothered who gets credit for something, as long as that something is both worthwhile and done properly. And that's why I count myself extremely fortunate to have been able to work with past President Jennifer last year in a spirit of true continuity that we hope will see Rotary move forward on a straight and steady and ever-improving course towards an ever better future. And I'm delighted to be able to do the same with President nominee Stephanie. I'm urging everyone to do that in their clubs and districts and zones, because the most successful clubs and districts and zones are those where there is continuity in leadership. I am sure by now, and if not, why not? Many of you will have heard, read, or seen my speeches in both Orlando at the International Assembly and Melbourne at the International Convention, outlining the plans for our year ahead. Time precludes me from repeating these in detail tonight, and many of them you will have already covered at other meetings you've attended. But if I may, I'd like to touch on two things I would really like to see us address during the coming year. And they stem from our vision statement. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. And I'd like to focus on two specific ways that we can bring the visions of lasting change across the globe and lasting change in ourselves to life. Firstly, lasting change across the globe by putting a greater focus on peace. I'm in no doubt whatsoever that the founders and builders of this organization would be proud of the hard work we have done in the past year to support the people of Ukraine as they have faced the brutal war with Russia. As we've done many times in the past, Rotary has answered history's call and put humanitarian relief first. We have donated generously. We have supported our fellow members wholeheartedly, and we have earned the respect of the entire population of that beautiful country. But we all know that true relief will not come for the Ukrainian people, nor for that matter, the Russian people, until there is peace. The same is true in Yemen, Afghanistan, Syria, and countless other places across the globe where we see conflict. I'm on record as saying, peace is the soil where hope takes root. Well, we till this soil every time we create new connections between people, and every time we find new opportunities for commonality, something that is within our power to do across the world in so many different ways. In Rotary, we know that peace is not a passive dream. It's an outcome of hard work, earned trust, and often difficult conversations. We know that peace must be waged persistently and bravely. The bravest goal any human being can set is the pursuit of peace. And in Rotary, everything we do, every single thing we do across all of our areas of focus helps make peace and redemption possible through the creation of hope. At the International Assembly, I spoke of a lady from Thailand who helped me come to realization that the theme for 2023-24 should be Create Hope in the World, with her story of how Rotary had given her hope after the tsunami of 2004 had robbed her of her livelihood, of her home, and of her family. But like many of you must have done, I have seen time and time again how Rotary has created hope for those we serve. One of my more recent such experiences, an experience that confirmed why I believe Create Hope in the World should be our theme for this current year, and arguably one of the most powerful ones, came in August of last year during a week-long visit I made to the Philippines. And it was yet another example of how Rotary not only changes lives, but quite literally saves them. In Manila, I had the opportunity to visit the De Los Santos Medical Center in Quezon City. which for a number of years has been the site of a wonderful partnership which sees the poorest of the poor children of the Philippines gain access to free surgeries for congenital heart defects, thanks to Rotary. The surgeries being carried out not only saves their lives, they allow these children to become normal, happy, and achieving. During my visit to De Los Santos, I had the opportunity to visit the recovery ward and meet several patients who had not long had surgeries, and to greet them and their parents. Parents who were so grateful to Rotary for what it had done for their children. As I left the ward, I was invited to witness at first hand a surgery about to be carried out on a young 4-year-old girl with a hole in her heart. A hole in her heart that, were it to be left untreated, would limit her life and ultimately cause her early death. As a dental surgeon, having carried out my fair share of oral surgeries over the years, I was no stranger to the operating room, and so I was happy to watch this little girl's procedure, a procedure that was going to save her life. As I stood close to the operating table, marveling at the skill of the young pediatric cardiac surgeon performing the operation, I felt my cell phone vibrate in my pocket. Once the operation was complete and the little girl was safely in the recovery room, I took out my phone to discover a WhatsApp message from home in Scotland with a photograph showing my 4-year-old granddaughter, Ivy, in her new school uniform with a beaming smile on her face. For that very day, at the very moment I was witnessing that little girl's procedure, Ivy was setting off for her first ever day at school. As I stared at the photograph on my phone, I thought of that little girl whose operation I had just witnessed, and the fact that, thanks to Rotary, she too would soon be able to embark on the journey of education which Ivy was just embarking on. She too would be able to enjoy a normal, happy, and achieving life. And as I blinked back the tears in my eyes, I realized that for her, hope had been created. So in crafting what is not my theme, but our theme for this incoming Rotary year, I wanted to issue a call to action. I thought of the lady from Thailand. I thought about so many others down the years. I thought about what we've done in Ukraine, in Syria, in Yemen, in Afghanistan, and elsewhere. And I realized that this is how Rotary brings lasting change across the globe, one newly created hope at a time. And it also begins to explain how we help bring a similar kind of lasting change within ourselves, the second of the parts of our vision statement I referenced earlier. Because for many people on this planet, lost hope is not simply a function of material poverty. All of us face challenges that threaten our well-being. And just as it takes tremendous courage to wage peace, so too it is brave to reach out and admit that you need help. In the wake of the COVID pandemic, more people than ever are hurting. Many have lost the people closest to them. Others have seen their social networks uprooted. Visions have grown wider. Opportunities for connection have been lost. And some of those hurting the most are the children and young adults whose education and social skills building has been so badly interrupted. To make matters worse, in many parts of the world, asking for help, especially in the field of mental health, is considered a weakness At the International Assembly in Orlando, I shared publicly for the first time how I had seen that all too close at hand when my brother, my only brother, Ian, descended into the depths of despair and depression that ultimately led him to take his own life over 9 years ago. With the benefit of hindsight, Ian had been struggling for some time. Despite being highly successful in his chosen profession, and despite having the most loving wife and family, but he just could not bring himself to ask for help. Was it for fear of being seen as weak? Was it for fear of being judged? Or was it even for fear of being rejected? We will never know. But believe me, these are three questions I ask myself every day in life. I might venture to suggest that one of the main reasons that Ian and so many others like him reach the point they do is that mental health remains such a taboo subject, and that mental health services remain in such short supply. I've heard it said that the mental health system isn't broken, it just hasn't been built yet. Well, maybe, just maybe, Rotary can, as it has done with so many other things in the past, help build it. And that is why I want us to prioritise mental health during this Rotary year and hopefully beyond. I want to encourage you to erase the stigma associated with emotional well-being. I want to encourage you to raise awareness of mental health needs. And I want to encourage you to improve access to preventative and interventive mental health services. It's a big ask. It's an important task. And I am asking each and every one of you to become champions of this effort. I know you can do it. Any mental health professional, and there may be some on this call, will tell you that by helping others, we essentially help ourselves. In fact, a recent study conducted by Ohio State University found that the single most effective way to alleviate the symptoms of depression is to perform acts of kindness. The evidence overwhelmingly shows that helping others benefits our mental health and our well-being by reducing stress and improving our mood. And the friendships developed along the way foster an incredible sense of community and camaraderie, themselves essential ingredients to mental health and wellness. So, these are some of the plans for the year ahead, that we help bring peace to the world and soothe those afflicted by conflict and by violence, and that we help each other and our communities deal with our own internal struggles, and that we end the stigma associated with asking for help. In all these actions, to help the world heal from destructive conflicts and in turn to help us achieve lasting change in ourselves, we create hope. We create hope in the world. I consider the past district governors of this great organisation to be a vital resource in achieving our aims. You have done the hard yards in years past. You have the T-shirt. In some cases, you even have the scars. You've built up an incredible knowledge that allows you to support and encourage those serving as district governor now. Please ensure you are there for them and give them your trust as they go about their duties. Thank you so much once again for allowing me to spend some time with you this evening. Thank you for all you have done, are doing, and will do for Rotary. Each and every one of you is a credit to the badge you wear, and I am proud, very proud, to belong to the same organization as you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gordon. It's hard to have a round of applause when you're one person in the room. But we wanted to leave this time open for Q&A, a little questions from the audience. It sounded like you were having great rapport with everybody a little bit before we got started. So not much has come in. The only thing that I saw come in through the chat so far is somebody had asked about how do we increase mental health professionals? How do we get more people engaged into this field of service to help others? And any feedback that you have on that would be appreciated.
So, yeah, an important question. And I think the point is very well made. I think mental health is very much the poor relation of health. We talk very freely about our physical health. We talk less freely about mental health. And it's the same with newly qualified graduates seem to be more inclined to move into the physical health field than maybe they do the mental health field. I'm not entirely sure where Rotary can play a specific role in increasing the number of mental health professionals. But where I think we do have a role to play is perhaps helping people, preventing people from having to access mental health professionals and therefore reducing the workload demanded of mental health professionals. And that's why I'm so grateful to the Rotary Action Group for Mental Health Initiatives for all the work that they have done to prepare us for the launch of this focus, to prepare us for the launch of this initiative by curating a great many resources and a great many opportunities for people to become involved in supporting people with mental health challenges. I think the first thing to recognize is that the mental health challenges vary from place to place. They vary from country to country. They vary from district to district. In very many cases, they vary from community to community. The mental health challenges in zones 28 and 32 are probably different to the mental health challenges in my home zones, probably different to the mental health challenges in the zones elsewhere in the world. So it's important for each club and each district to identify what the challenges are in their specific area and then endeavour to find ways to support these people. But much as I would love to be able to wave a magic wand and create a whole new cohort of mental health professionals, I think that is probably above my pay grade.
Well, I think with your initiative, if you can move 1.4 million of us with this background of mental health, maybe we can help get that conversation happening a little bit more and more interest happens and people start looking at their mental health the same way as physical health. It all encompasses the body, right? I know that Wilf looked like he was looking to unmute himself. Did you have a comment or a question? We would like to welcome.
Sorry, I'm very, very pleased to be here. I was only going to say I just came from my Rotary Club meeting, so I wore President Gordon's tie, which I would say took great. Oh, sorry, you probably can't see it on TV. However, but the incoming president of the club laid out his plans for the year, and I couldn't help but say that he's already been influenced, President Gordon, by what you have said in May. And from the programs that he's attended as part of his training. And he shared these with the club, and I thought that was very excellent. A great start for the year.
Mm. Oh, thank you. That's very affirming to hear that, Wilf. And I hope all is well in the Rotary Club of Trenton. And who knows, maybe one day I'll get the chance to come and visit.
You would be very, very welcome. I can tell you that. We would have loved to have you last year when we celebrated our 100th anniversary. However, we did have great representation.
Oh, thank you.
You have to go through Coburg on the way, Gordon.
Oh, I didn't realize my simultaneous translator was online. Bob, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Good.
Another question that came up in the chat was making a connection for people between diversity, equity, and inclusion and mental health. Do you have any connection pieces on that can be useful?
Well, again, I think everything is timely, and I think there is a real connection between DEI and mental health, and I'm delighted that we are moving along our DEI journey here in Rotary. We still have a ways to go. It's not going to happen overnight, but we need to make Rotary a welcoming place, a safe place, a place where people can see themselves. It's a very simple, and it's probably a maybe rather too simplistic description of what DEI is all about, to say that a Rotary Club should reflect its community. But that's what it should do. People should be able to look at their local Rotary Club and see themselves and feel comfortable in that space. And that's going to help people's mental health as well, because just as it's important to recognize that there are people out there who have mental health challenges, it's also important to recognize that within Rotary, there will be people with mental health challenges. The statistics would suggest that 1 in 5 people in the world suffer from mental health challenges. So it's not stretching the bounds of possibility to suggest that 1 in 5 people in Rotary may be suffering from mental health challenges. And you don't need to be an accountant to work out, and maybe Wolf can help us here, but you don't need to be an accountant to work out that 20% of 1.4 million is a significant number. It's 280,000 people within Rotary might be needing support for their own mental health. And so that is a very important part of our mission. An important part of our DEI journey is to make sure that people can feel comfortable in Rotary and be supported by Rotary should they have mental health challenges. Good question.
Yeah, no, there's some great things going on in there, sharing stories and smiling, creating peace, and again, stories on stuff on that end. One last question here, though, if we can you foresee a role of Rotary Community Corps in the service of mental health initiatives? And do you know of any examples of anything that started already?
So I can see a role for Rotary Community Corps in many initiatives. I think Rotary Community Corps is very often a misunderstood and underutilized aspect of Rotary. I have seen the Rotary Community Corps in action in Pakistan in the field of mental health and supporting people with mental health, because although this is a focus during this year, we have lots of evidence of Rotary being involved in the mental health space already. This isn't a completely new thing that we've suddenly said, hey, let's get Rotary into the mental health space. There's a great many places in the world that Rotary has already been active in the field of mental health. And when I was in Pakistan last October, I had the opportunity, in addition to meeting the wonderful polio workers that are doing such marvelous work on our behalf and on behalf of the Global Polio Eradication Initiative in Pakistan, but I met some RCC members who were active in the field of mental health, again, supporting mainly young people, supporting young people with mental health challenges, listening to them. And that's one of the most important things. I've developed this reputation for saying that we need to ask 2 questions. The first question is, how are you? And everybody very quickly says, yes, I'm fine. But then you follow up with that supplementary question that says, how are you really? In the hope that if there is a problem, they will be prepared to share it. But if you're prepared to ask the question, you have to be prepared to listen. and the Rotary Community Corps in Pakistan are doing some great work in that particular field. And so, yes, I think there's a role for everybody who is associated with Rotary to be involved in this. But I also think in terms of the Rotary Community Corps as a whole, that there's a great place for them within Rotary, not just in the mental health space.
Thank you so much. Thank you for answering everyone's questions. Obviously, you can get the last word. Is there one last thing you want to send us off with before you bid us goodwill tonight?
Well, I just want to thank you all once again, and I know I said it already, but to thank you all for everything you do for Rotary. I'm conscious, I'm acutely conscious, and I am under no illusions as I sit here on the 18th floor of One Rotary Centre in Evanston, and I glance out over the Chicago skyline. The work of Rotary isn't done in this office. The work of Rotary is done in the clubs that encircle the globe. And that means the work of Rotary is done in the clubs within zones 28 and 32. That means the work of Rotary is done in the clubs that you are all members of. And I am so grateful to you for the service you give, for the work that you do. And so my final word would be on behalf of the people that you do serve, because I know that you don't always get thanks from the people you do serve. On behalf of the people you do serve, wherever they are, I say thank you. And I hope that you will encourage and continue to work hard for Rotary, and this year create hope in the world, just as last year you imagined Rotary. And I'm sure 6 months from now we'll hear a wonderful new theme that will allow us to focus our talents and skills in 2024-25. So yeah, thank you very much for everything you do.
Thank you so much, Rotary International President Gordon McMillan. We appreciate you being here, spending our first launch of this year with us. Just wonderful words of wisdom. I can proudly say our District Governor Tom Crowley in District 7255 has put some money aside in our district grant to focus and drive the clubs into a mental health initiative this year. So we're looking forward to that and sharing your words out there.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody. There's been some questions about recording being sent out. Yes, the recording will be sent out, but it goes to all past district governors. We can't just pinpoint who is here. So thank you, Bruce, and ahead of time for getting that out there to everybody. We're going to shift a little bit. We have a wonderful event coming on, Learning to Lead in Toronto, and our event chair, Rod Thompson, will be here in just a few, if not here already. I
am here, Jack.
Join us. Welcome, Rod. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here. President Gordon and Director Drew, and I see there are some other dignitaries. I'm going to assume that Rotary protocols have been observed. It's wonderful to see you, Gordon. Yes, I'm here, and I'm going to encourage each of you as a past district governor to join us in Toronto, September 27th to October 1st for the Learning to Lead 2023. We started this last year, coming back out of COVID in 2022 at the same location, and we heard feedback from past district governors that they wanted a program. They wanted to be there, that they wanted to look at this in a similar vein as they previously looked at a Rotary Institute. So Learning to Lead is geared to run our GETS and GANATS program. We also have our coordinators running programs on foundation, public image, and Rotary coordinators, and also some polio information as well. So there'll be lots of opportunity for folks to be there. For PDGs, what is the value proposition for PDGs? Well, first of all, Sue and Bruce Goldson have worked with our two trainers, Georgine and Alex, to put together a program that's based on the responses from past district governors on what they would like to learn more about for the future of Rotary. So that program is being put together now and will be presented on Friday. On Saturday, you will be able to select the program that you want to put together from all of the offerings across the board, whether it's foundation, whether it's membership, whether it's something fun, because we're going to have some fun things, whether it's leadership, whether it's working with young Rotarians. There will be opportunities for you to select the program you want from a number of different offerings on the Saturday. Then on the Sunday morning, you as past leaders and current leaders of your districts will be able to sit with your district team and work through some of the challenges and opportunities that are being presented in your district. So it's an opportunity for you to work with the current governor and the governor-elect and nominee to help direct the future of your district and offer your wisdom and your experience to them as they develop their goals and move forward. So those are the highlights. And of course, we'll have tremendous speakers, including President-elect Stephanie will be there. And Ramesh Farish will be presenting on polio. We have a number of different speakers that I think you'll find very, very interesting through the plenary sessions. We also listen very carefully on a logistic basis, and you will be able to order the meals that you want for the plenary sessions in advance. The meals are posted on the website. When you register, you select from the menu there, and when you arrive, you'll receive the food that you have ordered. So we're making it as easy as possible for people to meet the needs of vegans, vegetarians, those that have challenges around allergies. We'll be able to meet those needs much more effectively than we have done in the past. So, exciting opportunity for past district governors. Think of it as an institute in terms of learning more and learning and sharing your knowledge to help others learn in Learning to Lead 2023. And Jax, perhaps we could ask Drew if he would like to add anything as the convener of the Learning to Lead.
It's like you were in our text message. It's a little bit weird and unsettling. Justin and I sometimes do brain share, so it's a little bit weird when it happens with somebody else. Drew.
Well, thank you, Rod. And again, thank you, Gordon, for taking the time with us tonight. Always inspirational and so great to hear your message and where you see this organization going. As it relates to Learning to Lead Toronto, I mean, what I promise you is really a great time, a great party, and an opportunity for fellowship to get together with your past classmates and all the folks that you've made friendships and deep-rooted relationships over the years. This is your time to come together and be together. So I very much hope that we have a large showing. There's 100 of you on tonight that you come out to Toronto in September and join us. So Rod, thank you very much for your efforts in this event, both last year and then this current year. And we're really looking forward to all that's to come. So if it's okay with Jax and Rod, I'd like to shift for a second, because as I was listening to Gordon, and apologies, Gordon, because I was multitasking. Gordon, I know you're going to jump off, but I went through the roster of who's on this call, and I will say we are all leaders on this call, but there's some really amazing folks that are with us tonight that I just want to take a moment to recognize. We have past Rotary International President Wilf Wilkinson with us, as Gordon noted, who was president of this great organization in 2007, 2008. Wilf, thank you so much for joining us. And what is so meaningful to me, and Wilf, hopefully you'll appreciate this, as having a whole bunch of kids that are involved in Rotary now, and my dream is for them to be Rotarians when they get older. You have a son, Stephen, who is an incoming governor in your district, which I think is the greatest thing when we get to pass the gift of Rotary down. I see we have Mary Shackleton on the call, who's a fourth-generation Rotarian. I so geek out at that. So, Will, thank you for all that you've done for the organization, and specifically for bringing the next generations through. We have past Rotary Foundation Trustee Chair and past Rotary International Vice President Bob Scott with us, which is, again, you're talking about giants in this organization that are with us. So really, really cool. Bob, thank you for joining. Past Director, past Foundation Trustee, and somebody who's really helping me out these past couple of years, Julia Phelps. Julia's with us, and she's doing an amazing job bringing a group of Rotarians together in New Jersey that kind of went down, unfortunately, a path that was unfortunate, and she's bringing us back. So thank you, Julia, and thank you for joining us. We have our zone, a bunch of our zone coordinators on with us tonight. I saw Eileen Rao, who's a Foundation Coordinator of 32. We have Ingrid Nietzsche from Zone 28, Foundation Coordinator. We have Carol Tickleman, who is an Endowment Major Gifts Coordinator from Zone 28. We have brand new End Polio Now Coordinator Duncan Conrad. We have Foundation Trustee Marty Hellman with us. Marty, thank you for all that you do for the trustees. We have Mary Lou Harrison, a Public Image Coordinator from Zone 28. And I'm sure I'm missing, and I'm just trying to go through my list, because there are a couple that I just want to recognize tonight, because this is a big day for them. So for anybody who's ever received an email from Rotary saying, would you accept a post? And I'm right now leading with my chin, because they haven't officially accepted. So this is, for nothing else, going to guilt them into accepting. But we have two individuals on tonight that received their emails from Rotary that they can be Rotary coordinators in 24, 25, if I got my years right. and that's Louisa Horn for Zone 28 and Cindy Kish for Zone 32. So please, if everybody can join me in congratulating them. Again, they haven't accepted yet, so we're now going to force them into it. But Cindy Kish and Louisa Horn for being our new batch of coordinators after Doug Logan and Herb Klotz have done their 3 years. It's so great for them to be with us tonight. And lastly, just to round this out, I always want to recognize, because there are so many folks behind the scenes that do so much work for our zone. And I think they're still on, but you have Bruce and Sue Goldson, who are communications chairs for the zone, who set up all the Zooms and send out the emails and do all the great work that just, quite frankly, a lot of times goes unnoticed. So thank you, Bruce and Sue, for all that you do. And I think I'm done with my long speech of thanking everybody. And Janet put it in the chat, and I thank you for that, Janet. We have an awesome event coming up, Labor Day weekend, which is our Life on Land Symposium in Anchorage, Alaska. Gordon will be there, so if you like what Gordon had to say, he will be up in Anchorage with us, with Heather. So if you haven't registered, please give some consideration to registering. If you like partying with Rotarians, you have an opportunity to do a one-way cruise from Vancouver to Whittier, Alaska. That's leaving Vancouver August 23rd, getting into Whittier August 30th. And then we have our Life on Land Symposium August 31st to September 3rd. That's a lot of words in a very few minutes. And Jax, thank you again for setting this up and giving me the opportunity. So I wish everybody a wonderful night. And Jax, I'll leave it to you to close this session out. And apologies if I missed anybody on the zone team or past leaders that I missed. I tried going through everybody.
Thank you, Drew. Thank you for all that. Thank you, everybody, for coming in tonight, for taking the time with us. And if you have any topics or anything that you would like to hear brought forward, conversations to had, or thoughts about how to improve this, we're always looking for positive corrective criticisms. So thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. Our next session will be within the next 2 months or so, and you'll be getting notices from that. Thank you again, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.